That's better.
Okay, fam. How about now? Can you guys all hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me or something. Yep, I think we're good now. Okay, sorry about that, fam. Is it distorted or is it clear? We got any audio like crackling, popping, anything like that? Sound staticky, Easy Be Easy said. Okay. Yeah. I apologize, fam. Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing Miss Denny's playing it in the background. It's a humming. Let me see if I can make an adjustment here to try to address that piece. Give me just a sec. All right. And sorry, fam. I'm actually looking in the new year to upgrade my mixer because this one I think is got a few years on it. And electronics, fam. It is what it is. How about now? Better? Better. Okay, excellent. All right, let's do it, fam. Sorry again about the technical difficulties. Everybody, happy Hump Day to you all. Welcome to the broadcast. Couple of things before we get started. Is it still the same? Is still crackly or still kind of staticky? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some addressing of this
low. Like
it's low too as well.
Yeah. Like your sound coming out is low.
Okay. I'm making some adjustments right now, fam. Okay. I'm making some adjustments right now, fam. Yeah, it's still staticky, isn't it? I can hear it on Miss Denny's side there. I've got one more thing to try, fam. Stand by.
Speak on.
I will. Okay, fam. How about now? Still staticky, clear. Let me know what's going on. I appreciate y'all's feedback. I want to make sure this is right for y'all. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Tazba's like, yep. Thumbs up. Anybody else having any more sound issues, fam? I want to apologize, fam, for the sound issues, the technical issues, right? Sounds like my mixer might be having some issues, so I'm going to have to address that here soon. But I appreciate y'all's patience, y'all's forbearance. As usual, check the description field of every video. There's links to resources, reports, you know the usual, right? Also, there's links there to help support my work. As you guys can see, I try to spend every penny I get on making better content, better stuff for y'all. And I appreciate y'all's contribution to my work, right? So if you see it worthy, right, make sure you hit the like button. Let YouTube know this is content you want to see. Make sure if you want something that you want to say specifically, hit the super chat. I always address them, as you all know. There are other means and methods by which you can support my work too as well. Trust me, no begging here, no disrespect. But if you can help, it's appreciated. All right, fam. So today, without further, time to do the usual. I got to say what's up to everybody. Fam, if you here, you don't have to participate in the chat, but let us know you here so we can shout you out. Shout out first of all to Miss Denny. Welcome, Miss Denny, to the broadcast. Easy Be Easy, and Pat is in the house. Hotep and peace to you all. Right, Sister August Dreams, and my brother Tazaba is in the house. Shalom to y'all. Let's see here. Sister Christine, peace to you, sister. John's in the house. Namaste. Warrior Scholar, peace to you. Alexis, peace. Brother Paul's in the house, peace to you. Let's see here, Lolita, peace to you as well. AL, peace to you. DVM's in the house. Peace to you as well. And Monty's in the house. Peace, fam. What it do, black man? I see you, fam. So everybody, welcome to the broadcast. Today we're going to be talking about bottom class citizenship, right? And I think that this is more important than ever because with the advent of the political season coming upon us, right? We've already seen those idiot Dems running, for president in the primaries, and soon, the presidential election will be a full bore, right? I think it's imperative that we examine just where we are in relation, not just to them, but where we are in relation to every other American. Right? Where are we as Americans? Because make no mistake about it, fam, for all of the talk and hullabaloo of, diaspora-ness and, this, that, and the third, we Americans, right? We live here. This is our homeland, right? We're not homeless. We're not cast out, flotsam and jetsam on the waves. This is our home, right? We are not a lost people. We have our own heritage, our own lineage, our own stuff, right? And it's imperative that we stop and take a look at actually what's going on, and more importantly, who's responsible for bringing us to where we are, right? So today we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on the teaching screen. I have a few videos that I'm going to show you guys, some information so you can kind of get up on the topic, what we're going to be discussing today. And then I'm going to open up the lines and I'm going to let you have your voice, let you have your say on the topic itself, right? So without further ado, to the teaching screen, right? We are going to take a quick look at a recent situation in New York. Now, I need y'all to understand something, and it will be mentioned during this video that New York is not the only place where this is happening, right? There are quite a few other places throughout the country that are now doing this type of thing. And it's imperative that we see it, that we understand what's happening, so that we know how to maneuver, right? So let's take a look at this video real quick, shall we?
Now, the New York State Senate gives the green light to the Green Light Bill. This measure gives undocumented immigrants the right to a driver's license. 12 other states already have similar laws in place. CBS 2's Allie Bauman live now in our newsroom with what is next for this bill in New York. Allie?
Well, Christine, Governor Cuomo has maintained he supports the policy, but would only sign the bill if it does not unintentionally expose undocumented immigrants to federal authorities.
Ayes 33, nays 29.
The bill is passed.
Cheers erupt in the Senate chambers as the Driver's License Access and Privacy Act, also known as the Green Light Bill, passes.
Today's vote helps support the promise of the American dream.
The vote followed hours of debate.
How would a county clerk know if a foreign document is real?
They're already being trained. They're already receiving funding. So this is nothing new to either DMV or county clerks.
Proponents say the bill would lower the number of uninsured people, improve safety on the road, and generate nearly $84 million in government revenues over the first 3 years. Its critics argue the legislation would circumvent federal law and encourage illegal immigration.
Your bill gives a green light to fraud, danger, and ultimately illegal immigrants voting. You'll be green lighting New York becoming a sanctuary state.
Undocumented immigrants should not fear getting pulled over and being separated from their families.
A recent poll released by Siena College showed more than 50% of New Yorkers surveyed were against allowing undocumented immigrants to get driver's licenses. Now the bill goes to Governor Cuomo, who has said he would only sign it into law if the state solicitor general determines there are sufficient safeguards to prevent federal authorities from accessing the DMV database.
If we pass a bill that winds up targeting undocumented, then shame on all of us.
Legislators say undocumented immigrants will have to follow the same requirements as all licensed drivers in New York, which includes having auto insurance. In the newsroom, Ali Bauman, CBS 2 News.
So, fam, as you can see, in New York recently, they started issuing driver's licenses to illegal aliens, right? They can doctor up the language and call them undocumented immigrants or whatever the case may be. But let's be frank, fam, if you're immigrating here and you have not gone through the immigration process, then you are here illegally, right? It's as simple as that. That's not shaming anybody or throwing shade. That's just simple facts, right? So now, mind you, fam, that New York is just one of about 13 other states that also issue driver's licenses and things like that to illegal aliens, right? So and if you notice during the broadcast for the video, they also mentioned that doing this will actually generate revenue for the state. So they're going to make money off of illegal activity, off of illegal behavior, right? And in the meanwhile, they give people who have no legal right to be here yet another brick to be able to build up an edifice to make the argument that they should be here, right? Sanctuary cities. If you look at California, California is nearly a sanctuary state, fam. But see, we need to understand exactly how sanctuary cities operate, right? Because we use the term, pardon me, let me stop this stupid video here, sorry. Right? We use the term, fam, and we don't quite understand exactly how the process works. So in light of that, I wanted to present to you a brief video, right, just a few minutes long, that explains exactly what sanctuary cities are and how they operate. So without further ado, here's the second video for you to watch.
When we think about sanctuary cities, we tend to imagine, depending on our political view, either lawless cesspools where federal law is utterly ignored.
Pretty much the definition of anarchy.
Human sacrifices, rapes, murders.
Satan worshipers.
American lives are being lost.
They are breaking the law. They are harboring fugitives. This is absolutely nuts.
Or havens for one of the nation's most marginalized groups.
You are safe in Chicago.
This is about human beings, families.
And we will continue to be a place of refuge.
But in reality, neither of those descriptions quite fit. And to understand why, you have to put yourself in the shoes of a local police officer. First, what are sanctuary cities? They're cities and counties in the U.S. that limit their cooperation with immigration enforcement, which falls under federal jurisdiction. These policies are different in different places. In Chicago, it means city employees aren't supposed to share residence immigration status with other people. In Washington, D.C., it means police officers are barred from asking residents about their immigration status. But often, it comes down to this. How does a local police officer handle an unauthorized immigrant that he's already arrested for some other reason? Let's say a cop pulls someone over for speeding. The cop notices this person has an unpaid speeding ticket, and they miss their day in court. So the cop arrests the person, books them into the local jail. While they wait for someone to post bail, the person gets fingerprinted. That's part of the booking process. Those fingerprints then get sent to an FBI database, and then a database kept by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. That step is mandatory. Whether or not a city calls itself a sanctuary city, it still has to send those fingerprints through the FBI database. If the fingerprints match up with someone who ICE knows is an unauthorized immigrant, they might send the local cops holding this person something called a detainer request. The detainer request is just that. It's a request. The federal government is asking, not demanding, that police hold that person for an extra 48 hours after they would normally be released. That gives ICE time to come by, pick them up, start the deportation process. Now, ICE can't force local law enforcement to hold someone just by sending one of these detainer requests. The Constitution's 10th Amendment prohibits state governments from having to enforce federal law, and some federal courts have decided that detainer requests fall into that category. So, if you're a local police chief or sheriff and you get one of these requests, you have a choice. Do you honor the request or do you let the person go? Let's say you honor the request, keep the person in jail for an extra 48 hours. ICE comes to pick them up and they get deported. Word gets out around the immigrant community. Anytime you interact with local police, it could mean deportation. Eventually, immigrants will be afraid to call the police, even when they're the victims of crime or the witnesses to it. And then immigrants become easy targets.
Because the bad guys know that many immigrants will not call the police.
For a local police chief, this is a big problem. It's impossible to do their jobs when they don't have people's trust.
500,000 Angelenos, people that live in Los Angeles, are undocumented immigrants. I need their cooperation. I need them to work with their local police stations. I need them to be witnesses to violent crime.
What about the other option? What happens if you ignore the order and let this person go home? First, there's no guarantee that they won't get deported anyway. Whether a city considers itself a sanctuary or not, local law enforcement can't stop ICE from deporting someone. But there's another problem. Think of the levels of government like rungs on a ladder. You have the federal government at the top level, that includes agencies like ICE. You have the state government, governors, legislatures in the middle. And then at the bottom, you have local government, mayors, police chiefs, sheriffs. If the federal government issues a detainer request and the local police department refuses to accept it, the state government can step in by taking away one of the state funding streams from the local police. That's what happened in Texas in 2017.
The governor of the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott, has declared he will sign a law banning sanctuary cities. He's already issued an order that cuts funding to those sanctuary cities.
This is dangerous, and I will not allow it as governor of Texas.
This map shows the counties in red that always cooperate with ICE and the ones that don't. Those are in orange, yellow, and green. The green counties have the most restrictions on when they cooperate with ICE detainer requests. In late January 2017, shortly after he got into office, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that opens the door to withholding federal funds from sanctuary cities or counties. The wording of that order is vague, and it's already being challenged in federal court. But if Trump's plan does move forward, it could put local law enforcement officers across the country in a lose-lose situation. For them, deciding whether to honor a detainer request is often about choosing between financial security on one hand and public safety on the other.
So as you can see, fam, sanctuary cities are basically places where individual law enforcement apparatuses can essentially refuse to aid the federal government in enforcing federal law. Now, they mentioned the 10th Amendment, right? The 10th Amendment to the Constitution basically says that any powers not specifically reserved to the federal devolve to the states or to the people, right? It's the enumeration clause. Basically, it details that unless specifically given powers, the federal government does not have any power to dictate anything to the states, right? So now we know exactly how these sanctuary cities operate. Essentially, these people are committing crimes, or alleged to have committed crimes, which is why they're having engagements or interactions with the local law enforcement apparatus in the first place. But then on top of it, right, when ICE issues a detainer request to hold this person so that they can initiate the process and procedures of deporting these individuals, right? What ends up happening is these individuals essentially utilize their discretion in determining whether or not they want to honor that detainer, and they can let these people go to continue to commit more criminal acts and so on and so forth. You know, there was a lot of hullabaloo when Donald Trump talked about the criminal activity of illegal immigrants, right? You know, saying that they were rapists and drug dealers and things like that. But when these people commit criminal acts, it starts off from the initial criminal act that they committed when they crossed the border without going through the the immigration process, such as it is, right? These people are already coming into the country. The vast majority of them are not crossing the border, though, illegally. Easy Be Easy said that we have the vast majority of illegal immigrants, right? Illegal aliens are people who overstay their visas. They come here legitimately and just decide they ain't leaving. Their very presence is violating the law. So then when they are wrapped up and engaged in the process of engagement with law enforcement, now law enforcement is saying, well, we have discretion on dealing with them. Right? You have a tourist industry for rich foreign women who are pregnant with babies to come and pay to get 3-4 night stay at a nice hotel, access to a hospital, so just specifically so they can spit out a child that, due to bad interpretations, or let me be more precise, because there has not been actually any interpretation of the 14th Amendment issued by the Supreme Court that supports this, but bad enforcement of immigration law makes these children anchor babies, makes it possible now for these children to essentially be used to bring not just the mother, but the mother's family and a whole host of other individuals into the country now, and to gain naturalization and citizenship. Fam, people will tell you that you're a xenophobe, that you hate immigrants, for you asking some key questions about why this stuff is allowed to continue, right? We have evidence that shows clearly that there is a direct correlation between the amount of immigration, both legal as well as illegal, and the economic status of Native Black Americans. We've talked about this before on this channel. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to something here. Where are you seeing the places that are pushing sanctuary cities, that are issuing IDs and stuff like that, that are giving illegal immigrants and illegal aliens scholarships and things like that? Where are you seeing this occur? Who's in charge of these areas, these states? Right? We live in a two-party system. So politically speaking, who is it that's running the show in these particular areas, these particular states? I'll give you a hint. It ain't Republicans. If you looked at that map that we saw in that one video, fam, the map of the United States, and it showed the states that always comply with the law, always comply with ICE for detainment requests, and the ones that don't, it's just like an overlay of the political makeup of the United States. California was sometimes and always refuses to comply. Washington State was very much the same. You had a few places back east, notably larger cities and shit like that. And all of the rest of the country comply with ICE to enforce the law. Fam, we are on a trail of tears. Not tears. Tears. We're watching in real time the creation of a new tier of citizens. And these people are citizens not because they were born here, not because they have ties here, not because they've necessarily contributed really anything here. They're being made into citizens. But now the pie, fam, is only so big. So if you're making a new class of citizens, what do you think is going to happen to the old class of citizens? I mean, fam, this doesn't take a lot of thought. This isn't rocket science. But let's put aside for a second the fact that these people are being given rights to protection against, questioning of their status, the right to be protected against deportation by ICE, and so on and so forth. Let's put aside all of that for now, right? Because remember, we're talking about tiers. So if we're talking about levels to this shit, tiers, if you will, then what tier do you fall under? What tier are you at? Let's take a look at something, fam, that I want to show you guys. By the way, I want to shout out Hannibal, CKD1's in the house, Agent Smith is in the house, Black Magic is in the house. Fam, support my work. This is what I'm here for, right? I know it's Christmas and a lot of y'all have messed off the church's money, but if you have some love, some capability, throw me a couple of dollars, right? I don't like begging, and I'm not going to. But this is the type of stuff, this is the type of content I want to make sure to bring you. Information, analysis that's pertinent to where you are. Where and what tier do you sit, my beloved family? Let's take a look. This is a website, a law dictionary. I'll pop a link to the page for those of you who want to follow along. In our country, fam, when you commit certain crimes, when once you're convicted, you're labeled as a felon. We all know, if you watch 13th, that this carceral state was actually a creation of the United States as a replacement for chattel enslavement of our people. We have been, from the inception of the carceral state up to today, disproportionately affected by the carceral state, by the prison industrial complex. So let us examine, if you will, what happens to an American citizen who happens to be designated or falls under the auspices of felon. According to the article here, convicted felons lose rights from voting to employment depending on their state of residence. For us, as Native Black Americans, it is in a lot of ways like we live in 50 different countries, with everything from a little bit of fuckery to massive fuckery, and everything in between. Felons will lose their rights to vote, right? We all know about felon disenfranchisement, right? But did you know that felons also lose the capability to be able to defend themselves with firearms? That's right. If you're convicted of a felony, you no longer have access to a firearm. You lose that right, your Second Amendment right to defend yourself, to protect yourself and your family. You lose. You also lose the capability in some jurisdictions to actually sit on a jury and hear cases, to adjudicate criminal or civil acts of violations in your community. In certain circumstances, you lose the capability to be able to acquire a passport and thus the ability to be able to travel overseas. And we all know about checking the box. What happens when you check the box on private job applications? Let's also talk about the fact that under the federal system, if you're convicted, especially of a drug crime, you lose access to public housing, you lose access to public assistance, you lose access to Pell Grants, and thus you lose access to education. Once you are labeled felon, fam, you lose so many rights. You simply are treated as if you have no rights. You can lose custody of your children. This is you, fam. This is you as a citizen. You make a mistake. You young, dumb, and full of you know what, and you do something stupid, and then you get caught, and you get sentenced, and you go and you do your time. You pay your debt to society, right? You want to walk the straight and narrow. You want to turn your life around. Well, guess what? You may not get a chance to. Because once you're marked, once you're labeled as felon, you lose the opportunity to access so many things needed to be an actual American. You lose the capability to defend yourself and your family. You lose the capability to gain gainful employment. You lose the capability of getting access to help you get back up on your feet. This is you. You're a citizen, born here. Your ancestors' bones and blood are buried here. But once you're labeled with this label of felon, this is what you stand to lose. You essentially become not even a second-class citizen. You get thrown immediately into the bottom. This is where you are, fam. This is what happens to you when you break the law. A law enforcement officer pulls you over, right, and takes you to jail. You're convicted of a crime, or you're accused of a crime, or whatever the case may be, and you lose everything. Now they have what are called red light laws or red flag laws. Right? Where if they believe your behavior to be dangerous or whatever the case may be, they can preemptively lock you up and take away your right to own and access and use a firearm. Did you know that? That's right, fam. You're a citizen. You pay taxes. Your family helped build this damn place. And now on alleging that you could possibly be a threat to someone, they could take away your rights like that. But they bend over backwards to issue rights, to issue privileges, licenses to people who are not even citizens. You wanted to know. We want to know where we stand. Where are we on the trail of tears? Well, this right here tells you, fam. If you're labeled as felon, but see, let's take it a little bit further, shall we? Because this is only what happens to you when you're labeled felon. Nobody ever wants to talk about what happens to your children, what happens to your family. We all know that a stable household is the greatest indicator of success or failure for a child. So now you've broken up a household by giving football numbers to a member of the family, locking them up in the prison industrial complex, the carceral state. What do you think is likely to happen to that child? Many of us come from backgrounds of dysfunction, of multi-generational sexual abuse, physical abuse, drug abuse. And since we have no safety net, no means by which any citizen can access the care and stuff that they need in order to be able to heal from trauma, that trauma just keeps going on from generation to generation to generation. So you see uncle in prison, then you see nephew in prison because he's following right in the footsteps of uncle. But uncle was following in the footsteps of grandpa, who was in prison. We never talk about the knock-on effects of labeling a citizen as felon. We spent hundreds of years dragging every right we can, kicking and screaming, from the United States of America. And all someone has to do is show up on the border, make it across, and the next day can get what you got plus. Where do you think we stand on the trail of tears? There's something else, fam, that I want to show you real quick. Because it's easy for us to get outraged when we see what happens to felons, right? But it's also easy enough to dismiss that. They criminals anyway. They bad actors. Fuck them. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. This is why we still see consistent felon disenfranchisement. This is consistently why we see felons' rights being stripped, and why we consistently see Native Black people, brothers and sisters, folded into the carceral state. Because nobody gives a fuck once you've been labeled felon. We got our own people that say, hang them high. Fuck them. They don't want to be among us. They want to be criminals. They want to do. Thank you, Black Magic. I appreciate you putting 5 on it via Patreon. I really appreciate the support. We got our own people who say, throw them away. They're useless. They're worthless to us. Don't waste any resources on them. Lock them up. Fuck them. Right? So it's no wonder that once you've been labeled felon, that nobody gives a damn. But there's a group of people amongst us that, as far as I can tell, have committed no wrongs, have violated no real laws, have not hurt anybody, but yet are subject to some of the worst penalties that America has to offer. So, without further ado, let me share this one with you.
What consequences could I face if I don't pay child support? The law prescribes stiff penalties when a parent refuses to pay child support. Contempt of court. For willful failure to pay child support, you can be fined, jailed for a short term, or both, or you can be jailed until you actually pay. Wage withholding. Your child support can be deducted from your paycheck. Property liens and seizure. Some of your property may be seized to pay your child support. Liens may be placed on other property. When you sell the property, the sale proceeds will be applied towards your child support. License suspensions. Your driver's license and your business, trade, or professional license can be suspended. You may be unable to get a fishing, boating, or hunting license. Tax refund and lottery intercept. Your federal and state tax refunds and lottery winnings can be intercepted to pay your child support. Passport denial or revocation. If you owe more than $2,500 in child support, you will not be able to get a passport, or your passport will be revoked. State criminal prosecution. You can be convicted of a misdemeanor or even a felony under state law for failing to pay child support. Federal criminal prosecution. If you have willfully failed to pay child support for longer than a year, or you owe more than $5,000 and your child lives in another state, you can be fined or sent to jail for up to 6 months, or both. If you are convicted a second time, or if you willfully fail to pay child support for longer than 2 years, or you owe more than $10,000, and your child lives in another state, you can be fined or sent to prison for up to 2 years, or both. Inability to pay can be a defense, but it's up to you to prove you can't pay, and not up to the prosecutor or other parent to prove you can. You are not unable to pay if you are voluntarily unemployed or underemployed. If you are genuinely unable to pay child support, don't wait until enforcement action is begun. Contact your local child support enforcement agency for a payment plan and ask the court to reduce your child support.
There you have it, fam. There you have it, fam. You have Native Black Americans who are sitting in prison, not jail, prison, right now, for nothing more than being unable to provide for their children. It is now illegal for you to have an inability to provide for your children. Rather than providing you with assistance, the capability to get to where you need to go, they lock you up. They kill you. Oh, you don't believe me? There was a brother, may he rest, who was on his way home and was pulled over by a police officer. And in his fear, he got out and ran from this police officer, who promptly shot at him 8 times, striking him 5 times in the back, taking our brother's life. Rest in power to Brother Walter Scott. When it turns out later on that they investigated to find out what caused the brother to run from Michael Slager, it turns out that Walter Scott ran because he had previously been incarcerated because of non-payment of child support, and he was scared to go back to jail. And subsequently lost his life. Under the child support system, fam, you lose your capability to drive legally. Yes, they suspend your driver's license if you have one, or refuse to issue you one if you don't. So you might have just come up on a job. May not pay a lot, but you may have just came up on a job. But now you have to try to take a bus 2 hours one way to work every day because you can't drive legally. But what happens if you get further in arrears? Well, they then take away your professional licenses. So let's say that you just graduated from law school. You just sat the bar. You haven't started working for a firm or anything like that yet. Matter of fact, you may be thousands of dollars in debt. They don't care. You just sat the bar. Graduated top of your class. Juris Doctor. But now you can't practice law. You just graduated with your RN, 4 years. BSN, degree in nursing. Your nurse's credentials taken away from you. So they take your professional licensing away. If you fall further in arrears, they take away your right to even leave the country. So you may have just been offered a job overseas as a nurse, right? Japan, population's getting older. By the way, shout out to my esteemed brother Morpheus. I am glad to have you here today. Welcome to the broadcast family. Happy Hump Day to you. Also, shout out to The Real Deal. So they take away your passport. You just got offered a job at a Tokyo hospital, making good money.
Peace and support, fam.
But you can't take it because you can't travel. If you are working and you don't make a lot, you might make minimum wage, which we all know that for any adult in this country, making minimum wage is not even enough to maintain yourself, let alone a child. Now, I'm not saying children don't deserve support. They do, right? But we also understand that there are circumstances in which two parents can't co-parent and one parent is bound in poverty. The person who's the custodial parent has access to a lot more resources and a lot more opportunities to get assistance than the one without, even though both of them are parents. You working your butt off and you thinking that you're gonna get back on when you get your tax return. No, you won't. Because they report your arrearage to the IRS. So when you file your tax return, any refund that you were going to get gets intercepted. It goes to the state. You don't see a penny of that. Child support is essentially debtor's prison, fam. It's a modern day debtor's prison. They intercept your tax refunds. And they will lock your ass up. They will lock you up. There's no doubt about it. They will come to your house. If your arrearage gets big enough, they will come to your house, knock on the door, put some cuffs on you, and lock you up. Do you know what happens, fam, in jails and prisons in this country? People get stabbed, beaten, sexually assaulted, raped. You failing to be able to provide enough resources to pay your child support could mean infections with HIV and Hep C from a rape or a stabbing. It could literally be a death sentence. And yeah, this primarily, like Alexis says, affects us brothers the most. I know, I am one. I owe child support. I pay faithfully what I can every month. But I love my son. I have every desire to take care of him. I really do. But I live in one of the most expensive states in the United States. Just base level child support up here, if you don't have a job, is more than anybody could afford. When I was working, I paid child support faithfully. I'm talking about my mandated amount. Faithfully. But they don't care. And see, here's the crazy part, fam. Under normal circumstances, if you allege that you're unable to do something legally, right, and the state is accusing you of being able to do so, the burden of proof lies upon them to establish that you can. Not so with child support. Nope. If you say that you can't pay, the burden of proof is on you to establish you cannot pay. Because in the absence of you being able to clearly demonstrate that you can't pay, you owe. Oh, and the video noted that being underemployed, meaning working less than what you can afford to be able to take care of your own black ass, let alone your seeds, or being unemployed does not count as an inability to pay. So you don't have a business, you don't have a job, but that's not considered an inability to pay. That's facts. Here in Washington State, they do impute your income. So Let me share a little bit of my story with you. I was with my kid's mom, and we split up. You feel me? We split up. Turns out, okay, so she attacked me and got arrested for domestic violence. I sued in court for custody of my kid, my daughter, right? All I wanted was my baby and to get the hell away from this crazy motherfucker, all right? I go to court. The judge gave her custody of my kid, gave her the apartment, awarded her child support, and here was the crazy part. There had already been a child support order filed against me even though I was living with her, even though I was working and paying bills and taking care of shit. Because she went and got assistance. And when you get assistance, what happens is they ask you who the father of your kid is and so on and so forth. Plus, I had signed an affidavit of paternity, fam. I wasn't trying to look to be a deadbeat dad. I accepted my kid. And that affidavit of paternity fucked me. They imputed my income to be nearly $1,000 a month more than what I was actually making. And they charged me child support based off of what they imputed. Not what they proved I was making, what they imputed that I was making. That's facts. Fam, I drove for years with no license. I used to go to jail once a year, regularly, for driving on suspended. Regularly. Because I wasn't going to stop driving. I still needed to eat. I still needed to work. And where I was living, the only places you could go to get jobs were way out from the city core. So it is what it is. I gotta drive to get out there. There's no buses that run out there. What am I supposed to do? Pay $50 a day for a cab one way to get out there when I'm making $8 an hour? No, I drove. I bought a beater car from the home girl. Shout out to Liz. Bought a beater car from the home girl for $250, and I drove that motherfucker till the wheels fell off. And subsequently, I would get pulled over and I would get arrested. It got to the point, fam, when a cop would pull me over, I would just let him know, officer, my license is suspended. So if you're gonna go ahead and run me in for it, there's your cue. Like, we can skip the hemming and hawing and negotiating and the begging and all that. Yeah, my license is suspended, officer. I was finally able to pay down my arrearage. I was up $28,000 in arrears. That's, to some of y'all, that might actually seem like it's a lot. No, there are people out here who are hundreds of thousands of dollars in arrears, fam. Most states have a website that you can go to where you can look to see who's the most behind in child support. You see people owe $250,000, $300,000 easy. But that 28 for me may as well been $1 million. It took me literally a decade to finally pay down what I owed. I was able to get my license back. Still don't have a passport though. I was never able to get my passport released. So somebody could offer your man Mark Black the opportunity of a lifetime tomorrow overseas. I can't go. The Trail of Tears, fam. What tier do you think your fellow brothers and sisters, what tier you're on relative to somebody who just flew in from overseas and overstayed their welcome, or somebody who came across with a coyote? Where do you think you stand in the Trail of Tears? This is you. You're a citizen. Your family paid the blood price. Your ancestors' bones buried right here. Where you think you stand? Yeah, it was stressful, fam. It is stressful because I'm a good man. I want to take care of my seed, right? I never wanted to have any children. I never even wanted to have children that I wasn't a full-time daddy to. Like, my mother had 3 different children by 3 different dudes. I never wanted that for my kids. One thing I did right is both of my biological children are with the same woman. I don't have a bunch of side kids running around all over the place. I wanted to try to do it different than how it was done for me. But see, you can be an honest, upright, good-hearted citizen, but you share this lineage, they don't care. On the trail of tears, fam, you are bottom tier. And they make it clear to you every single day that you're on the bottom. Thank you, POT, man. I appreciate you. Fam, you can be in your fees about it, right? You can be upset that your man Mark Black is telling you that you're on the bottom tier. But reality, evidence, doesn't give a damn about your feelings. A person who is not even a citizen has more defense by local law enforcement, more protection under the law, more opportunity to exercise constitutional rights, more organizations in play to ensure that their rights are upheld than you do. I was going to show a video of a group of folk down in Atlanta who protected a man from being seized by ICE. They formed a human chain around the ICE vehicle. You know who was the people that they interviewed, the people that spoke up about the action that they took down there? It was black folk. It was native black folk defending these folk, when these folk, from all evidence, would never defend them. Shout out to my esteemed brother CRU, by the way, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. A happy hump day to you. Let's review, fam, before I open up the phones, because I want to hear what y'all have to say. You know me, I'm not that cat that talk at you. I want to hear what you have to say. But let's review. They get driver's licenses. They get scholarships. They get legal protections against questioning of their status. They get the opportunity to get free if they're arrested so that they don't have to be deported. And soon, they will have the right to vote. Issuing them ID is just one step, one block in the wall that they're looking to try to build to give these people the right to dictate what your life becomes, what your political life looks like. They will eventually somewhere be given the right to vote. And in the meanwhile, your brothers and sisters are disenfranchised, meaning they lack the capability to vote, consistently lose the capability to be able to defend themselves and their families, have no one advocating for the enforcement of their civil rights, their rights as citizens, are made a part of a carceral state from which there is almost no escape. On the Trail of Tears, fam, it's clear to me where we stand. 425-296-1980 is the number, fam. These Democrats that we've been back in the play of for, 50 plus years now? It's official, fam. They've thrown us under the bus. If you had any doubts, if you had any concerns whether or not that was the case, doubt no more. Doubt no more. Them bastards are ruining us. Our urban cores look like third world countries. Access to resources, capital, non-existent. We actually lost ground for black small businesses under Barack Obama. We actually lost ground. SBA actually loaned less money to us under Barack Obama than they did even under Shrub. You have to really look at anybody suspect at this point who shares your lineage, who's skin folk, who's telling you that we should support Democrat anything. I'm not telling you to run off to the Republicans. Some of you will vote for the Republicans. Good for you. You have other options. Fuck the Democrats. For this disrespect, they deserve nothing from us. Instituting systems of essentially replacing, regular prison with debtor's prison for us. Denying us consistently our rights. Fuck them. Caller from 973, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind? Caller from 973, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Mark Black, my brother. It's your brother CKD, man.
CKD, what's good, fam? Holla at us,
What's
man.
good,
The floor is
man?
yours.
Yeah, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, man. I've been working a lot, man, trying to catch up on the podcast,
it's all
but I've
good,
been catching
fam.
up, man.
You gotta take care of business. I'm just glad to have you. What you think about what we talking about today, CKD?
Oh, man, I've been wanting to touch on this for the longest, man, but we just refuse to wake up. You know what I don't understand? When you really sit down and you talk to black people, they are conservative at heart.
Yeah.
But they just refuse to understand that the Democrat Party is not for the people no more. I live in the state of New Jersey, which now is just turning into a hellhole. You got the governor right now just passed a law to give illegal immigrants driver's license. You know how much stuff I need to take to the DMV just to get my damn license renewed?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, fam. Jersey's also the state that now has a state subsidy, a program for giving scholarships to state universities and colleges to illegal aliens. Jersey is a state that does that.
Yep. And the governor about a year ago, he put $20 million aside to help illegal immigrants. I'm like, I'm tired of getting up going to work and my tax dollars going to people that don't even belong here.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just don't get it, man. We refuse to wake up. Just like how you said, man, our inner cities look like hellholes, man. Like, I'm fortunate. I live in like a township called Franklin Township in Somerset, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty middle scale. People, got decent jobs. I don't really have to see that stuff, but I got family. I got friends that live there, man, and it looks terrible. If you don't know right now, you're being replaced, period.
Facts. Look,
like
that's
the
crazy part, CKD. We're sitting here still listening to people tell us to cape for the Democrats, but the Democrats after 2016 made it clear that they're through with us, right?
Yeah, they done.
Listen, in 2016, CKD, I don't know if you knew this, fam, but I've mentioned this before. In 2016, during the presidential election of 2016, Black Lives Matter was really heavily involved in like activism and so on and so forth at that time, right? Because we had saw from like 2013, we saw Tamir, we saw Mike Brown, we saw John Crawford. We saw Sandra Bland and so on and so forth. All these people getting victimized by the police, and we were coming out hard, right? We had the uprising in Ferguson and so on and so forth, right? So Black Lives Matter, before they ended up sheepdogged back with the Democrats, was coming at the Democrats hella disrespectful. Do you remember that the DNC put out a memo telling presidential candidates how to engage
Don't promise
with
us
them?
nothing.
And in that memo, they specifically said, listen to everything they say, but promise them nothing.
Nothing. Exactly. And we sit around and we still go to these polls and vote for these people. And you know what it is, Mark? We refuse, like I tell people, we are our own worst enemy. It's our own people that's doing this to us. Like I tell people, look at your inner cities. It's us that's in control.
We got the bootleg class, the bootleg class, right? The gatekeepers.
I tell people, they say, when you ask them why wouldn't they vote for Trump? Oh, Trump's racist. I said, okay. You say he's racist. You say he's racist off in their opinion. I said, because what's the difference between a person that puts policies forward that's racist, but he looks like us? He can't be called racist because he looks like me?
What? You feel me? What's the difference?
Exactly.
Truly, what's the difference between a Donald Trump and a motherfucking Kwame Kilpatrick? What's really the difference?
There's no difference. It's just that because we play the race card. That's why I told the last podcast, Mark, racism is a political football. It really has no meaning anymore.
Nah, the thing is, fam, is that we are finally, I'm hoping, we are finally starting to twig just how deep the rabbit hole goes, just how deep we got played by these motherfuckers that we gave our political loyalty to.
If we don't wake up, man, like I woke up this morning, man, leaving out my bill. And they still finishing up like the new construction that's going on up here. Every last one of them out there illegal immigrants. Every last one.
Yep.
I'm in like one of the richest counties in New Jersey, Bergen County, which is like one of the richest counties in New Jersey where the people from New York, all of them come over here to live. Illegal immigrants driving garbage trucks.
Yep. Absolutely.
I look around, I'm like, where are we? I really don't know what we're doing for our employment.
But you know what, fam?
I don't see it.
But check this out though, right? Look at what's happening to the gatekeepers. Somebody just mentioned Tom Joyner asked, how many of these cruises this fool did over the years to the Caribbean and this, that, and the third, and was Mr. Entertainment, right? When he could have been advocating for us and our people.
Exactly.
And now look at him. Now he's on the outside looking in. Look at Roly-Poly Martin ass, right? Sitting there caping for the Democrats, handing debate questions via Donna Brazile to Hillary Clinton, buck dancing. Exactly. Now look at him on the outside looking in. All of these people are going to find out one way or the other one that the Democrats only will love you as long as you serve a purpose. When you can't guarantee that you can turn out that black vote like you used to, that gravy train is done.
I commented on one of your podcasts that I met in the comments. Do you know over in the UK, like I told you last time, in the UK, the same crap that they pushing here, they was pushing over in Europe.
Yep.
The people in Britain finally rose up and said, oh, hell no. They put all conservative. They got an 80-seat conservative majority in the UK
Brexit
Parliament.
Like nobody's business, because Brexit, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but what's happening over in the UK right now is the perfect example of what's about to happen in 2020.
Exactly. I told people, I said, I don't care. Like I tell people, with my views, I tell people, when they say, when Kanye said, oh, slavery was a choice, I'm like, it was taken out of Kanye. He meant mentally we are slaves, mentally, because we refuse to think for ourselves. Like Kanye said, I refuse to let the liberal media and the liberals, basically tell me who I'm supposed to like and who I'm supposed to vote for.
Man, let me tell you something. I can fuck the politics, right? Okay, so let's say that you the most progressive of progressives politically, right? You to the left of Lenin, okay? Cool, right? Let's talk about the social fuckery. You got drag queens stripping for children in libraries. You got people who still retain male genitalia, being able to claim to be female today and come and use the bathrooms with your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your aunts. Man, we've been riding the motherfucking crazy train for the last 40 years with these fools.
Yeah, who you telling, man? I said, yo, a vote for the Democrats right now is the vote. It is the vote to basically wipe your ass off the planet.
Man, look, it's getting to the point now where pretty soon people who are out and out pedophiles are going to be able to argue that pedophilia isn't a goddamn sexual deviancy. It's just another lifestyle choice.
Exactly,
and you know
man.
what? They're going to get it off as long as we keep allowing these fools to try to dictate to us what is. Look, we don't need nobody telling us what normal behavior is and what abnormal behavior is. This doesn't mean that we have the right to hurt these people or to attack them or to deny them their rights as citizens. We don't. Right? I'm not for bashing, gay folk or beating up on transgender
man. Just stay in your lane. I don't want to see it.
Right?
Stay in your lane.
We should not want to see that for anybody. But to try to tell me that it's not enough that I simply tolerate them, right? Because tolerance just means I allow them to be what they are, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I don't, that may not be my cup of tea, but I'm not going to stop them as long as they're not hurting nobody from doing what they want to do. Tolerance, right? Tolerance shows respect. It's saying, okay, your life, my life, we both citizens. Long as you getting your due as a citizen, long as I'm getting my due as a citizen, we straight, right? But no.
But like I tell people, Mark, when you break it down.
What these fools is telling us, though, is we not only have to tolerate them, but we got to accept them. We have to, be
or if you don't accept them, they coming after your business and, they try to, trying to mess with your livelihood because you don't agree with their politics, which is sickening, man.
It's disgusting. But as soon as you say something, right, as soon as you say something about that, right, you just basically consign yourself.
Like I told my man today, man. I said, when you break it down, I said, right now, what has Trump put on the books that's affecting Black Americans to this day? What has he put on the books that's hurting us right now? Nothing. Obama has done more damage than his 8 years, and why people gave him a pass? Because he looked like us. He was one of the most corrupt. I mean, you gotta understand. People I commented. I don't know if you know this dude named Torian Rain. I put a comment on one of his.
Brother Torian.
Yeah, I put a comment on it. I said, "Good that Mitch McConnell was blocking." I said, "Could you imagine the damage Obama would have done to us had he not stopped his agenda?" And people went crazy. And I said, let me ask y'all this. I said, when Obama won the presidency, he had 2.5 years. He had all three branches of government. I said, what did he push for Black folks? Wait. Crickets. And then it got a comment that said, oh, I didn't know that Obama had the presidency for 2.5 years.
Oh, wait a minute, fam. Did you see that interview that he did with what's his name? Emmett Williams or whatever on CNN?
Yeah, when he said women are better leaders than men and all this craziness.
No. The one where Emmett Williams was telling him that Black leaders was telling Barack Obama that our situation was dire, and they was upset that they was expressing, upset with his administration, and he basically gaslit boy.
He chastised us, told us to pull out. Wait, it was the famous quote: "Pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and start complaining."
Yeah,
I just can't with these people, man. Like I tell people, I'm like, listen, man. And then it's like they don't want to give the Republicans a shot, and it's like, dude, I'm like, y'all always look for Republicans to do stuff, but you're not their constituents. If you start voting and start putting some like you're interested in the party, then maybe we can get
we
some.
don't even have to go that far, fam. We can actually reach out to them with our concerns. Like, see, I believe in baby steps, right?
Yeah,
I believe
exactly.
in baby steps. So if you simply just can't see yourself voting for the Republicans, that's cool. I respect it. You feel me?
Right?
So here's
me personally. I never voted, but I will be doing this time.
Okay,
I don't agree with nothing that they. I don't agree with nothing because what they're doing to us off immigration alone is enough for me.
Okay, but check this out, fam. I'm talking about the people that have been ironclad Dems, right? Since they've been voting, right? You can't see yourself voting for a Republican. At the very least, what you can do is start to engage with them. Nobody's
exactly.
Look,
what is wrong with having a conversation?
I'm not
part
of the Brexit crowd, right? But what I am saying is that you have a whole another half of the political spectrum that you refuse to engage with, fam.
Yeah, and you do yourself a disservice.
It don't make no sense.
You do yourself a disservice by not talking to the other side. What does it take? You had the people over in UK hasn't voted conservative in over 100 years because they see what's going on. They see what's happening to their country.
Man, I'm gonna tell
you. I keep telling people there's nowhere for us to go. If we lose this country, it is over.
Check this out.
It's gonna be Venezuela 2.0 in the whole 50 states.
Right, in the last election in the UK, right, this election that was held on the 13th, everybody, the previous election, Labour Party, which is like your leftist party over there, right?
Exactly, it's like the reverse,
what they called the Red Wall through the north of England, a whole swathes of constituencies that were solidly Labour, right? But in order to try to fix problems with immigration, to get jobs for UK citizens and so on and so forth, those people voted to get Brexit done so that they could benefit their country. At the end of the day, all these globalists, right, like, you know, Rhodes scholars like Pete Buttigieg and Barack Obama and Cory Booker, they bought into this globalist idea that we have to somehow try to benefit everybody on the planet before we can try to benefit ourselves. Well, you have people in this country who say, no, we are America. We are our own people. We can't help other nations if
we
we're
can't
hurting.
help everybody, man. We can't help everybody.
You feel me?
And everybody.
Yeah,
go ahead,
the thing
Mark.
is,
I mean to cut you off.
No, you good, fam. You good. I'm cutting you off. Go on, fam.
Oh no, but that's what I told. I said it's funny how everybody always talking about let's leave America and do this. Everybody's trying to come here. There's nothing else on the other side of the continent. They want to come here. They're at the border now trying to break in.
Yeah.
People from the continent.
That's no shade to them. That's not disrespect to say that why should I go to a continent where people from that continent are looking to go someplace else? Like, it's no disrespect to say anything about African people who are trying to break their necks to get to Italy, who are trying to break their necks to get to Spain, to get to the Netherlands, to get to Sweden, to get to Britain, to try to get to Ireland or Finland, right? Why is it disrespect? Why am I being xenophobic to say that, hey, I'm born here, my lineage is here, my country is here, that I want what I deserve from my country. I don't want to go to a continent where people are breaking their necks to try to get the hell away from there. Like, let Africa deal with African shit. They don't even call themselves Africa. That's no shade to them. Africa is 54 different nations, right? All of which have varying levels of acceptance of each other, of engagement with each other, and so on and so forth, right? You see the CFA nations over there trying to get out from under the French franc, using the franc, system, right? Even France doesn't use the franc anymore. France uses the euro, right? So, you got Africa has its issues it needs to deal with, and I support them in their efforts to deal with their issues. What I demand in return is that they support me in my attempt to address my issues here in my nation. And if they can't do that, now we got a problem. That ain't xenophobia. That's not,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not disrespect.
A lot of this stuff that's going on, like I told, I'm like, man, like I told people, everybody's circling their wagons, grabbing for power, except for us. We still out here playing games, and we want to stick to, Trump's a racist. Who gives a fuck if we gonna lose the damn country?
You know what? I put it like this: Trump's a racist. Okay, Trump's a racist.
Obama was a racist.
Wait, hold up a second. Trump is a dyed-in-the-wool, out and out unabashed, naked ass, bold racist. Okay, so now that we've got that established,
so was the last 100
so
presidents.
was the last 44 presidents before him.
Exactly. Clinton was racist. We still put his ass in the White House. Who passed all the laws that's hurting us to this day?
I'm gonna tell you something,
Wasn't
fam.
Republicans?
I've discovered early on that Republicans can do you dirt. They can pass laws that
exactly.
you know
They can.
that's deleterious. Like Reagan did some shit that was foul to us. You know,
Exactly.
Republicans can do some foul shit to us, but to do some really truly dirty shit to black folk,
It's a
it
Democrat.
takes a Democrat to do that.
Exactly. 3
It
strikes
takes
laws.
a Democrat to do that
I mean,
shit.
you name it, man. Like I tell people, I said, me personally, I don't care for either party. I want to touch on this. It's amazing how black people, like I'm from North New Jersey. Ain't nothing cool about me. I do have common sense though. It's amazing how when you look at the politics of the Democrat Party and you say to yourself, I don't agree with none of this shit they talking about. Let me go look over here. Trump said the Democrats failed is if you want a home, come to the Republican Party. What's wrong with engaging them? I don't get it.
I don't.
Given the two, see, this is what you got to understand, Mark. You have to understand with the two-party system, Trump would have ran as an independent if he could, but he would not be elected. It's just like how Nigel Farage tried to run as a third party in the UK. He had to link up with the conservatives to get his agenda pushed through, but given the way the system is set up. Trump is a flamethrower. This is why I like Trump. I don't give a fuck who don't like it. He's a flamethrower. He's a truth teller, and he's breaking up the corrupt system in Washington. The Democrats are in bed with the cartels over in Mexico. They're being paid off. Look at our cities, man. They just show a man defecating in a supermarket in San Francisco. It's so bad in California, man. People are living in pods.
You know what,
storage
fam?
pods.
I'm gonna tell you this. I am not there yet with the Republicans, right? My last 2 presidential elections, I voted actually for the Green Party candidate. But that being said,
but it's your choice.
Hold up a second. With that being said, though, I not only respect your right to engage with the Republicans, I encourage you to do it. I encourage more black people to do it.
And I don't care who don't like it.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm done with the Democrats, bro. I'm done.
It's as simple as this. At the end of the day, we have a multitude of options politically that we need to start engaging with. We don't have the luxury of giving people the advice of only engaging with one set of political apparatus, or political parties or the political apparatus. No, that day's done, right? If we're going to gain any motherfucking power in this country, and God knows we need it, we're going to have to play the political game. We could be nonpartisan and vote for the people or engage with the people until we can get them on side with our interests. And it's as simple as that.
You know what I like what you said last podcast, Mark? You said abstain from our vote until they come to us. You know how much power that is? Look how we taking presidential candidates down, and we ain't even made no major moves yet. That's showing you who got the power.
Facts.
But and they say we 13% of the population, and we bring it down presidential candidates. It's all fucking lies, man. The power lies in us. We don't vote.
By many people,
immigration is out the window. All that.
We're told by many people though that abstention is not an actual political strategy.
Shit. If they know they need our vote, they gonna come to us. Like Professor Black Truth said. Let's get off the political treadmill. And I'm with him with that 100%. Abstain. Like you said, your vote is a transaction. What am I getting for my vote? Everybody else does it. You got the Asians linking up with the Latinos now. What are we doing? We still talking about going to the poll voting for the people that have been oppressing us for the past 80, 90 years.
I couldn't have said it better, fam. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and take another call, fam, but I appreciate your feedback, man. I appreciate the opportunity to hear from you. You know, you can always call in, man. Don't be a stranger, fam. I love you and thank you for contributing to the broadcast tonight.
No doubt, Mark.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Brother Chris, if you want to call in, man, call in. But I'm telling you, I'm not attacking Yvette and Tone, and I don't really care to hear you trying to like uplift them. They got their channels to do that. I'm not talking about them. I'm not referring to any political advocate or activist by name. I'm simply talking about strategies and tactics. And if you're not talking about that, I really don't want to hear anything else. I'm just letting you know up front. So caller from 513, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from and what's on your mind?
What's up, man?
Hello, caller from 513, it's your man Mark Black.
What up with it, Mark Black? This James Ryan, man. What's good?
Hey, what's good, fam? Hey, what's on your mind, fam? Talk to us.
Sure, you already know, man. I need to get my feed down real quick because I got that feedback.
Yeah, thank you, fam.
At the end of the day, yeah, all day, my brother, you already know, man. First and foremost, I gotta shout you out.
Oh, fam, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but are you on speaker or something like that? Because it's real kind of staticky and muffled. We want to hear you clearly. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, speak. I think it's a little better now.
Okay, can you hear me good?
It's still somewhat muffled, right? Like I said, I don't know if you're using the Bluetooth or whatever the case may be. Yeah, fam, you getting even more staticky. If you want to take care of that and call back, man, I appreciate it. Not shading you. I just want to make sure we're able to hear you clear. Okay, fam, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, Chris, the type of you saying that type of talk is fam, it is necessary. I don't need you defending Yvette and Tone. I'm not throwing no shade at them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about this particular circumstance, this particular situation, right? I'm not here for no partisanship, none of that. I've made that clear. I'm not going to keep sitting here having to bandy back and forth about what talking points Yvette and Tone is making. I made it clear kind of where I stand on that, right? So either you respect that and you still ride or you don't. That's all I'm saying, fam. No disrespect. All right. Brother Chris? Brother Chris, is this you?
Hello?
Hello, Brother Chris, is this you?
Yeah, this is me. This is
Okay,
Brother
yeah,
Chris.
go ahead, fam. And by the way, I hope you understand. I'm not meaning no disrespect to you, but you don't need to defend them. I'm not doing the partisanship thing.
No, it's all good. Listen, this is Brother Chris.
Go ahead, fam. The floor is yours.
No, not at all. I listen. I'm going to defend. More importantly, I'm going to defend you first. Yeah, I'm going to defend you first, and I'll defend. More importantly, I'm going to defend you first, and I'll defend you first, and Tone and Yvette.
Brother, you don't need to defend nobody. Speak your mind. What do you think about the topic that we was talking about today?
Well, the whole point of the topic, I'm getting a delay.
That's okay, fam. Take your time.
Well, all right. Let me ask you this, because I just came in. What was the topic about?
Okay, I appreciate you doing that, fam. So the topic today was tears, the tears of citizenship, and we were discussing how, if you look at the situation and what's going on, that it appears that illegal aliens have actually more protection for their civil rights, more access to things, and so on and so forth than you do, than you or I do.
Of course. Well, of course. I mean, I can tell you that right now. I live here in Long Island, New York, born and raised, and I lived in a community that was mostly African American and white, and now that community is more Latino.
Mm-hmm.
And the deep thing about it is, we have our problems at DOS, but I realize that there's more problems with the Latino population. And what I mean is I see drunkards.
Yep.
You got Latinos that are drunkards. I mean, they actually live in the community on a strip mall where they come every day from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and they stay all night and they drink. But nobody says nothing.
Nope.
The police don't even come and question them, but they'll go all the way to the other side of town, where blacks are, that's smoking crack or doing the same thing, and it's very highlighted.
Yep.
Now listen, let me tell you this. I wish everything was clean. I wish everything was clean. Honestly, I can create a foot on the ground that can clean that shit up. But I'm done with it. I'm too old for this, Mark. I've been a part of the Nation of Islam. I've been a part of security where I'm holding guns and cleaning up community and projects. I can't do it no more because I have to take care of myself.
Yeah, of course. Let me ask you something, Brother Chris, if I may. What I want to ask you is this, right?
Break it down.
Where are you from in your area, right? You've watched over the decades as the demographics change and so on and so forth, right? And then you look at the areas where where our people predominate in where you're from, right? Over the decades you've been alive, right? I'm assuming you middle-aged like me. I'm 46.
I already know what you want to. What the question? Listen, let me say this before you even ask me that question. I can already answer it. You want to let me know how, where has it been? How has it grown? You know where the really gentrification has come from? The gentrification has come from not from white people, but it's come from immigrants and Latinos. That's where our gentrification has come from.
Now, actually, that's an interesting point. I wasn't quite going to ask you that. What I was simply going to ask you was, you've seen the changes. What has been the one thing, if you look at our communities where you're from, right? What is the one thing that has been consistent in that area? The one thing that consistently occurs that you can point to in our community, right? That we have done over the last how many ever decades you've been alive and see these changes. What's the one thing that's remained the same?
You just said that what we have done. When you mean we have done, you mean ADOS?
Yeah, I mean us, people, right? Native black folk, us. What's
the
one thing that we have maintained over that time frame?
Honestly, I can say we've allowed these people to come into our community.
Now, let's talk about that real quick if we can. We have a certain degree. We have a certain degree of capability to be able to dictate who's around us, who's not around us, right? But in the main, because of our lack of political advocacy for ourselves and also a lack of political representation on the level of local, state, regional governments and things like that, what real power have we had to stop these people from coming in to our communities? I'm not just asking about our own ideas, right? Our willingness to accept everybody.
We haven't had the power because you know what? We are naive. We just allow this to happen without being political, without having our own organizational groups, because they've had theirs. They've actually formed these groups before they actually started to come into the community.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in New York. I'm going to tell you a little bit of history. I'm just going to give you within a minute. I mean, my mother is from Arkansas, my father from North Carolina. My mother was born in Indianapolis. She was raised in Arkansas as a sharecropper. Father, same thing. Father actually born in Brooklyn, raised in North Carolina. The whole point I want to make with you is that as black people in New York City, ADOS, we are naive. We just allow. We think because we dealt with racism so much just with white people We just say, all right, things will get better once immigrants come in our community, and these other nationalities in our community, they come in, but it never gets better. And the reason why it never gets better is because of us. I'm not blaming them. Those people, I'm going to tell you, they're not starting no fights with us in the community. They're not doing that. They're looking out for them. What about we looking out for us?
Exactly. In other words, where's our exclusivity, right? Because the problem ultimately breaks down to just simply this, fam. Everybody else is exclusive. Mark Black can go and eat lengua, right? Drink horchata.
Yep.
You know,
Same thing here.
speak fluent Spanish, all of that.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they might like me. They say, "Oh, that Mark Black, he's a nice cat."
Yep.
But I'm not one of them.
Right.
I will never be Latino. No matter if I
break it down.
Yeah.
They make more money. They make more money off of us than they do them. When we come into their restaurants, they make more money. They charge me more a plate of food than they would charge their own people. I take the train every day. I work here in New York. I travel that Long Island Railroad every day, so I'm with people that's going to Manhattan. I might stop off. I get up at my stop, and you got the locals, you got the Latinos. Yo, they hustle. I gotta give it to them. They hustle, but I go in and get rice and beans, and I just a piece of fish for breakfast in the morning. $6, but I see you give your people the same thing you give me for $3. I don't say nothing.
But you know what though? Hold on, fam. Cause see, you just mentioned something that I think is important for us to note. And that's this. Whenever they interact with each other, they understand the power of exclusivity. You see, fam, because we were victims of racism in this country at the hands of white folks, right? We say to ourselves, we don't want to do anybody like how we've been done, right? We look at being exclusive, practicing exclusion as being like white folks, right?
I got you.
But here's the thing. Everybody comes here, practices exclusion, right?
Mark, but listen, it doesn't matter, Mark. The whole point it's the power of money and what that money brings, because the whole point is like I said, they come into our community, and they're sometimes, they could be the minority and they can climb into the majority, but at the same time, look, they still got a stranglehold. They still got a stranglehold on us, because you know why? We come to them because their food is cheaper. So even on welfare, our folks, my folks, will go to their stores to feed their children. Okay, on what they'd rather feed their children on their food than go get 3 boxes of cereal. You know what I mean?
You know what though, Chris? Here's the thing, right? So now you got brothers like yourself, like me. You got sisters like Miss Denny, like Adrian Williams, like, and so on and so forth, who are saying, you know what, this is some BS. And that we have the right to demand the fullest expression of our citizenship, or this whole damn thing can burn, right? And the crazy part is that we're told
do that unless it's through politics, bro.
We're told that we're xenophobes, that we're racist for us demanding exclusivity where everybody else gets to practice exclusivity. And it is crap, fam. It is crap.
Well, now, if that's the case, then Mark, then how many people do I have to bring out there to Washington State for you to say, all right, let's shut these people down? Because we can do that. I mean, but how many people see what's true ADOS is how many people out of the state is going to go and do that? because we need to have a shut it down. We've
Here's
always
the thing,
talked about
fam.
that. Shut it down. Shut it
There's a
down.
whole host
And
of
nobody been
tactics.
shut down.
There's a whole host of tactics that we can practice, right? This is what I want you to take away from our conversation today. I'm not going to tell you that your idea is bad or good. What I'm going to tell you is that we need your ideas, and anybody of any stripe that tells you that we are limited in our political advocacy and actions that we can take, regardless of who they are presenting you with a false dichotomy. That's what I want you to take away from any conversation that we have. Fam, I think your shut it down idea is great. I think Project Takeover is great. I think that there's a whole host of things that we could do that have the potential to work. The thing is that we need to focus on every effort that we can make, right? If you say
we need to focus on us. We need to get
but my point is that by us focusing, internal, Chris, bro. I'm sorry, by us focusing on our efforts, that is focusing on us, right? What we need is what's going to drive our efforts, nothing else. Right, so if you're arguing that we should be focusing on ourselves, fam, then you should be arguing for every bit of political advocacy we can engage in.
Like I just told you, we need to be ants, bro. We need to go into these huts. We need to build our army like ants, bro. We can always get stomped down from this place, but we always have to know that, you know what? We got another hill right up there.
I hear you, fam.
We got another hill right up there.
I hear you.
You understand? Everything's got to be internal. We need to. You listen. Let me tell you something. I'm afraid of really talking. Listen. By trade, I'm a network engineer, computer operator. I know how to hack to anybody's shit. I don't do that. I was taught not to do that. All right. That's what I was taught. As a network engineer, mind your business. Don't intrude on your property. All right? This is a business. You have a job. You have an education. This is how you do things. This is how you do things through ethics. But what I will tell you is this, is that technology, all right? Technology will help us to a limit.
Yeah.
You hear me?
I hear you.
Only up to a certain limit. Because when it really comes down to communication, we don't need technology. In this country, we need to eliminate communication through technology. Because all we need to go is across the street. Hey, brother.
I would agree with you, fam. We need to be talking to each other in the face more. Look, we see clearly the establishment of surveillance regimes utilizing technology. You have China with the Golden Shield. They're instituting a social credit type of system over there where they can blackball you. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of your reputation as a good, citizen and things like that. And who gave them the technology to do it? American companies did. Cisco did. IBM did. We saw IBM made it possible for the Nazis to be able to keep track of the train schedules and the bodies going through the ovens back in. See, this is the whole thing, right? You got a lot of folk who be trying to talk but don't really see the reality of the circumstances. We need to be in each other's faces more. We need to be showing each other more love. We need to be a separate thing. We need our own thing. And
But it's here, Mark.
Huh?
It's here. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's definitely coming, fam.
Listen, it's not only that see, we're talking about, see, what I like about you is we talk more about the internal things that maybe, that and Tone don't talk about. Now, they might want to talk about it, but they can't because they are on such a larger platform that we don't want anything. I don't want anything to happen to them. But they need to communicate with people like you and communicate with other people. I'm talking about together, secretively, where when you go out, once you guys talk, you go out and you guys know what your role is.
Yeah.
It's like saying, all right, you know what, I ain't never talked to Tone. Somebody come to you, I ain't never talked to Tone. I ain't never talked to you that. But you know what? Actually, you have. They need to have this conversation with you, bro.
But see, here's the thing, fam. I can't make them have that conversation. Like, I want you to understand something, Chris, because you and I have had, we've had some great discussions, you and me, and I got nothing but love for you, right? But I need you to understand something,
Likewise.
fam. I'm not here to unify with people that don't want to unify with me. I'm not here to be a mediator.
No, I think they do
right? No. Listen to what I'm saying, please.
How it's going to unify.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I cannot force people to connect with me, right? The thing is that Antonio and Yvette have had a lot of the same discussions that you and I have had and that we have as angry black sheep. I've attempted to have those conversations with them.
Yeah, but how can we be a tribe?
Pause.
How can we be a tribe?
Pause.
Just listen.
Fam, pause. I've attempted to have those conversations with them. And what I have gotten in return is faulty logic, shade, blocking, and so on and so forth. I mean, at some point, I have to just say, okay, you know what? I've been trying to fish.
On that?
Now I got to cut bait. That this is not to say that I hate them. I don't. As a matter of fact, I have the same level of esteem for them as I always had. But there's a parting of the ways. I can't ride with everything that they're doing. And they've made it clear that if I have any questions that don't comport with how they think things should be operated or how things should go, then I'm welcome to, kick rocks. So I choose to kick rocks, fam. That's not me refusing to engage with them. That's them refusing to engage with people like me.
All right, but I don't want you to do that, brother. Listen.
Well, fam, I appreciate your desire to want to see us work together. What I'm telling you is that it may be an unrealistic desire, right? I can't force somebody to hear what I'm trying to say to them. I can only present the information that I present. It is ultimately up to all of you to accept the veracity of what I say, right? It's up to you to do your due diligence and say, Mark Black is really on some real shit here, or that nigga's crazy, right? It's your call. All I can do is present the information, fam. And I've done that, right? So Yvette and Tone are welcome always to engage with me, but if they choose not to, I'm not going to run them down.
Listen. If I go on Yvette's channel right now, or if I go on her Twitter and I say something that she don't like, of course that.
Fam,
you know why?
I apologize, but I don't want to talk about Yvette and Tone. I brought up a specific topic today that I think is worthy of addressing. Yvette and Tone is Yvette and Tone. All I'm saying is to you is this.
So going forward, I'm not. This is my goal. All right, can I just say this?
Go ahead, fam.
This is my goal. My goal is to eventually, everybody needs to come together. If there's anything that I want, is I want all of us to come together. Because you know what? This is what keeps us so disfranchised from each other, especially when we all want the same thing, but we go by it through different means. So my point is, and I'm going to get off, is that I believe in my heart that you will have a face-to-face with those people, whoever they are, and it will get better through time. All I can tell you is this, brother, because I have a belief. I've been through so much.
I appreciate you, fam. As always, thank you for your contribution to the broadcast tonight, man. Fam, I want to leave the line open. I know sister Pretty Muslima wants to call in. Here's your shot, sister. Fam, listen, I understand where the brother's coming from, right? I get it. There is definitely a need for as many of us to come together to do constructive things as we can. But we have to also understand that some of that role has to be played by other people. We're not in control of all of that, right? So I get where the brother's coming from. Let's see here. Here we go. Caller from 513. Is this sister Pretty Muslima?
No, sir. You want her back on?
No, that's okay. She can call back in. Hey, Tam's next, right? Go ahead, fam. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's up? It's James Hard, man, out to Cincinnati. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you sound much better, fam. Go ahead and talk to us. What's on your mind?
Thank you. Right now, man, I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. What I wanted to present to y'all and to the family is the watching the apple cart. First and foremost, with these Democrats and whatever they're doing, all propaganda. And my whole mind is this is what I saw. These people, the Democratic Party,
yeah,
and all of them really, but the Democratic Party for us is ADOS black folks, is that they are pushing forth flagrant immigration, homogenous anxiety inflammation, permanent financial stagnation as to us, ADOS, right?
Brother, you might need to turn the volume on your phone down. It's gotten back to that muffled. It sounds almost like it's too loud. Like we're getting a lot of static, and we want to hear you clear, man.
Can you hear me good now?
It's still choppy, fam. And again, man, I'm really sorry because it sounds like from what I can hear, you making some solid points. It's just really difficult to pick up what you're saying. You feel me?
Okay, can you hear me good now?
Yes, that sounds a lot better. And talk a little softer. I think you got a damn good mic on your phone, fam, and it's popping.
That's my fault, man. That's what I said. I think the Democratic Party has propaganda like I said, to push forth flagrant immigration, homogenous anxiety, inflammation amongst the white folks, and make them feel like, oh, these Negroes. And permanent financial stagnation for us is ADOS. And I think that's why the Democratic Party is pushing forth this crazy cockamamie Trump impeachment thing, which is not going to do anything but make a lot of homogenous people upset. And we know what color those people are. And I think it's just like they're trying to invoke something that they're trying to piss these people off at us because we want what we want right now. And everybody wants what they want right now. So it's like, I don't know what to think about. That's why I was kind of like calling and asking you, is like, why do you think they want Trump out of office? And is this a deeper goal to it?
You know, fam, I'm just gonna keep it a buck, and thank you. I'm gonna make sure to mention your question just in case people didn't hear it. What the brother was asking, he said, is there more to this whole impeachment thing than what we're seeing, or is it just what it is? You know, fam, I'm gonna answer this. You're probably not gonna expect what I'm about to say. Sometimes, fam, a snake is just a snake. They never accepted the fact that Trump won in 2016. Nobody expected that, right? It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton's coming out party, right? She was finally supposed to get this high political office that she's been caping for ever since we ever heard of her, right? And so when Trump upset the whole apple cart, the Dems have not gotten over that for shit, right? And then let's also take into account the fact that you've stirred up the left Democrats, the so-called progressive Democrats, you stirred them up into a fever frenzy, right? You see what I'm saying? By constant using of dog whistles like Trump's racist, Trump's a xenophobe, Trump's this, Trump's that, right? Because for them, you don't need any actual logical arguments or anything like that. All you have to do is just use dog whistles to stir up the extreme left, right? And the centrist left is just at the point of voting blue no matter who. Like they don't care if it's like, if you can see the centrist Democrats right now, they don't care if it's Buttigieg, they don't care if it's Kamala, they don't care if it's Biden. They just want to vote for anybody who ain't the red guy, right? Who's not the Republican, right? So, you know, the fact is that they wanted to coronate Queen Hillary the first of her name, right? And when that didn't happen,
Right.
they've spent the last three. Look, Trump and them is clear when they say, fam, that you can go look back at even as early as late 2016, early 2017. They were already investigating what ways and means and methods they could try and use to get him out of office, right? You can't argue that this is you upholding your oath to the Constitution and so on and so forth, right? Like, you can't argue that when your whole political platform has been for the last 2-3 years to try to get rid of dude, whether you like him or not, you know what I'm saying, it's immaterial. The fact is fam, they just never accepted the fact that he won the election. It was like with Shrub, right? They still to this day say that Shrub stole the election from Al Gore, even though Al Gore was fucking problematic. We had just came off of 8 years of fuckery with Bill Clinton, right? And Al Gore was right there with him. And you thought that Al Gore was going to get the nod? No fucking way. Like, they could have put anybody in there other than Shrub, and the Republicans would have still won. We just saw in 2000, before the election, right? We just saw the collapse of the dot-com bubble in '99, the deregulation of the banks through the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, and so on and so forth. Like, Clinton at Alia screwed the country stupid. There was no way in hell that Al Gore was going to win it. So he got the popular vote. That doesn't mean shit. We already know that under this particular system, you could win the popular vote and still lose the damn election.
The election. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you don't get to claim that the system's all messed up when it works against you, when it could have just as easily been the other way around. You see what I'm saying? When it could have just been the other way around, and W could have got, right, the popular vote and still lost to Al Gore, they would have been saying President Al Gore, he's the man. Well, that's the system. You can win the popular vote, but if you don't win the electoral votes, then it don't matter if you won the popular vote. If you don't like that system, change it. But don't complain that that's the system when you would have been more than glad to accept the results under it had it benefited your candidate.
Right, yeah, if it had been your candidate. And that's the thing I wanted to touch on right there, was that since the fact that the liberals didn't get their candidate, and these so-called black people that vote left didn't get their candidate, now they see that ADOS and African Americans are just not going for the hot sauce and the shucking and jiving, you know, that roly-poly type of mess.
Yep.
What we have now is that I think that the Democratic Party is on purposely, with malice intent, impeaching Trump in order to cause problems, big problems, for us in America. And you know what the us I'm talking about. I'm talking about for us black folks.
I know what you're talking
about.
I
think it's a counter. I'm saying, that's why I wrote it down. I was like, let me do my research, because Brother Black, you like, do your research. So I wrote it down, man. I'm thinking that the Democratic Party, that they've seen what's been happening so far, that we got so much of a grasp and a grip on what's going on, who's going to be elected, and who we're going to take to the White House if we even choose to. And that the younger generation and the older generation, for that matter, is just not about to go for the tomfoolery. Actually do something that I done deemed, or that I done call CMECA, which is counter maximum emergency compensation action, which means is they'll try to impeach Trump and cause a whole bunch of mess. And
Fam, you breaking up terrible bad again, man. You breaking up hella bad again. I want to hear your points, but I didn't really catch anything of the last few minutes that you've been talking. I'm really sorry, fam.
Okay.
No, but I think from what I gathered, that you believe that this is another play on us, right? Our people, and so on and so forth. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, but you don't have to allege conspiracy when you can see clearly that the Democrats are looking to try to to basically replace the black vote. Like, they made it clear in 2016 that they were not going to face another situation where they were dependent upon our vote and we didn't deliver, right? They made that clear. So in my opinion, for whatever we say about the Republicans, the Democrats are open enemies to us at this particular point. They have no interest whatsoever in benefiting us and our people. They will never send out anybody on the top of the ticket, the middle of the ticket. Like, they barely are letting Congress people and senators talk about black people. They're not sending nobody out on the top of the ticket who's going to specifically do anything for black people. Not after 2016. They are our open enemies at this particular point. And we either understand that, right, and accept that we have made that clear break, or we keep pretending that we can somehow, convince them to, I don't think that's going to happen, fam. I saw that memo just like anybody else did. They made it clear they wasn't promising us shit. And then after 2016, when Trump won the presidency, that sealed the deal for them. And then we showed our natural black asses again in 2018 during the midterms. Nope. They're done depending on us. Right now, what the Democrats are doing is looking to replace us with another demographic, another electric group. And the fact is we need to understand that and move accordingly. They're no longer, unless they're forced to, they're not going to address anything we say. They're just not going to. Yeah. So, fam, hey, man, I appreciate it. I hope I addressed you.
Because I must be choppy. So
yeah, fam, I apologize, man, but I hope I addressed your questions and everything, man, and I look forward to you giving us a call again, man. Thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah, fam, we need to just wake up and smell the coffee. We've already tore our ass with the Democrats, right? Like, that's going to scare a lot of black people, me saying that, but that's a fact. 2016 tore our ass with the Democrats. Even though we came out in nearly record numbers for Hillary Clinton, right? I'm not going to take a call right now, fam, and the next one I'm going to take is going to be from 510 from Tam if she's still watching. So, but in 2016, when Queen Hillary was not coronated, no, the Dems, no, their goose is cooked with us. We haven't. See, the thing is we're playing political cowards. We haven't just come out and told them that we're actually done with them, right? If we did that, then it would all become clear because they're done with us. Right? The Dems have made it clear. They're done with us. How else can Kamala Harris still be considered a top tier candidate when she was in the race for the primary, right, for the nomination? How else could she still be considered a top tier candidate when she could come out on a national platform and say specifically, I'm not doing shit for black people? How else could that be possible? If we're this captive electorate, right, that the Democrats absolutely need, she wouldn't have been able to get away with that. Other Democrats would have been chewing her ass for that, but nobody brought that up during the debates. Nobody put up that video during the debates talking about Kamala Harris is not going to do nothing for black folk. They sat there and asked them, how many of you support open borders? And all them hands, including Marianne Williamson's ass, all of their hands went up. They're letting you know right there, they done with you. But we still sitting here caping? That makes no sense. Whether you think we have or you think we haven't, we're done with the Democrats. They're done with us. That's clearly the case. From the disrespect they consistently show us to the lack of advocacy for any of our issues. Look, a little girl can get up and do a video talking about the red-eyed, blue-breasted swamp booby is dying out in Finland, and she gets rave reviews and awards from Congress. Meanwhile, Flint still got bad water. And if your black ass stand up and say something about it, you get ignored. Not by Republicans, by Democrats. I say it all the time, fam, that nothing says I'm done with you than like saying I'm fucking done with you. Well, guess what, fam? The Democrats have told us all throughout this primary season that they are done with us. And we, like a battered spouse with no self-esteem, keeps saying, no, take me back. I'll be better. I'll be good. I promise. No. It's time to move on and live our best life. Damn the Democrats. For all the good that they've done for us over the last 50 years, I say this is a divorce that we should have initiated a long damn time ago. Monty said they got Democrats running for president who has spent enough money on their campaign that could have fixed the water in Flint twice. If nothing else tells you what their priorities are when it comes to dealing with you, that should tell you everything you need to know. Because those same Democrats have signs in front of their offices in the Senate talking about dreamers welcome here. When, by the way, here's a hint. When they say dreamers, they're not talking about you. Those same Democrats will get up on stage and start rambling off random ass shit in Spanish. Guess what? They're not talking to you. Do you speak Spanish? ¿Se habla español? No? Then they're not talking to you. The CBC's a damn joke. They're over there doing, fact-finding trips to Ghana and taking pictures in front of the gate of no return. Meanwhile, no legislation is being introduced to hold account the political leadership there in Michigan that poisoned thousands of people, including thousands of children. Nothing says I'm done with you like being done with you. The Democrats, fam, I'm not telling you to not fuck with the Democrats because I necessarily want you to be done with them, more than I'm telling you to not fuck with the Democrats because they have made it clear that they're done with you. You look stupid continuing to co-sign for a political party that's made it clear that they are never going to say a word they don't have to say in your interest. That they will make sure that they give illegals more opportunities to have the American dream than you. What else do we need to say to the Democrats, fam? What else do we need to say to them? In the Trail of Tears, where are you at? And who on their side is acknowledging where you are and willing to do something about it? That's the question that needs to be asked. I'll go ahead and take a call from my brother Black Man 903. What's good, fam? It's your man Mark Black. Talk to us.
Hey, Mark, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, brother. It's good to hear from you, man. Talk to us.
All right. I want to say this real quick. Hold on. Let me help my granddaughter. Goodbye. All right. I want you to say, I got my PowerPoints like you were sitting there saying earlier. I want y'all to know that the shooter from that shut that Air Force base up, he was from Saudi Arabia. He got his gun in the United States legally, supposedly. Don't know why, don't know how. All right. I wouldn't know will illegal get arrested if they own child support back in their own country. All right. And on my tier, I think my tier is a little bit better than most, but I'm no far to bottom tier by no means when I say that. But I realized as soon as I heard the word ADOS and understood what it's all about, I didn't care about voting Republican. I didn't vote about caring Democrat. I care about voting for my people first.
Thank you.
100%.
100%.
All right. All right. I showed my daughter-in-law how to buy weave directly, right? And black people would not buy. Made me mad. I heard Tone say today, I can't say nothing to Boyce because he blocked me. Well, Mark can't say nothing to Tone because Mark is blocked.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So those are two things that it just seems weird. You gonna get mad because he blocked you, but you just blocked our dude too. So what are you that doesn't make no sense to me right there. All right?
Yeah. I mean, fam, I can only do so much. I can try to engage with folks, but
my dude, I'm right there with you. I 100% agree. And I want everybody to really listen to this last point. Oh, well, this time my last one. All right. The second last point is that listen to what your Democrats are saying to you. This is constitutional stuff that he's doing to us. They mess with the Constitution every time they mess with the Second Amendment, which is guns. You know, I'm a gun guy.
Yep.
So don't sit there. So why aren't they being recalled or impeached for making laws against the Constitution? It's a game. I don't care what nobody says at this point. It's all a freaking game. Because if they can make up an amendment against the Constitution to make you either have insurance on your guns for each gun, even though my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's gun, they want me to have insurance on that, and it's, whatever. That's just crazy. So the other thing I want to say about the Electoral College, this is one thing I want Democrats also to think about if you vote Democrats. Look how many places she did not go because she just went to the coast. Florida, not Florida, but California, New York, and blue states.
Yep.
That's what the Electoral College does. It protects the southern states or the lower amount of states, because you're going to have an election in California and outweigh the number of people in a place like Montana who loves guns and who does the whole thing.
Exactly. If you run in California, you're going to get far and away more votes than you would in Wyoming. Wyoming doesn't even have a million people in it. You got 1 million people that live in neighborhoods in LA.
Right. So, and my last point. This is going to be my last point. I'm gone.
Come on, man. You make your points, because you know that ain't going to be the last one.
No, I'm serious. I watched San Francisco, right, on the channel with the needles and the poop and the guy pooping in the building. I watched all that, right?
Yeah.
I watched all that. But who did they arrest for eating a sandwich at BART? Who? You tell me. That's the priority.
Yep.
Oh, you can eat a sandwich out here, but you can poop in the store?
Yep.
You have needles all out here? Mm-hmm. Stop playing with me. It's the game. We are the pawns. Somebody said earlier today, we're the pawns of the game.
Yep.
Stop being the pawn in the game. Start realizing what's going on, folks. Come on.
That's facts.
I'm out.
That's facts, bro. Right. Appreciate you. That is facts. Fam, look. The game is the game. We know what America is. Matter of fact, I would argue that we know what America is better than anybody. The game is the game. Now, you can either choose to play the game or you can be played in the game. But the game is the game. And it's as simple as that, right? Like, at the end of the day, fam, we have to understand that the old ways just ain't working for us. Right? Just sitting there willy-nilly voting for somebody because they got a D on the end of their name, that's not helping us. It's not doing anything for us, fam. The line is open. I want to take one last call here. I want to take it from Pretty Muslima. So if she calls in, I'm gonna take her call. But otherwise, I'm not gonna take any more calls. I'm gonna go back through the chat and see what y'all talking about. Durable Goods said, "Damn, I done turned all the lights on." Yeah, I actually am gonna be building a new lighting setup at the start of the year that gives the light a little bit more mute. A little bit more muting. Right. I appreciate y'all forbearance with my little janky setup. But at least y'all can see it, brother. That's you know what I'm saying. So here we go. Pretty Muslima, what's up, sister? Talk to us.
Oh my goodness, I've had to wait so long. I don't even remember what the topic. What should I be talking about?
Sister, we were talking about the tiers, right? The citizenship tiers, like who's getting more benefits, who's got where, in other words, where are we in this whole system of tiered citizenship, tiered rights, and so on and so forth?
Well, we're on the bottom as usual.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me is, I don't know, I'm like all over the place. I wrote down a couple of points, but I like to give the family direction because I don't think that Black people are stupid. I think that we lack knowledge. And so I don't ever want to present it where, oh, I don't care if you vote Democrat. No, I do care if you vote Democrat, and I'm going to tell you why. I've only been raging about this, the past 2-3 weeks, because it's like people are not understanding that the Democrat down ballot is going to be detrimental to us.
Yeah.
And that is because the local people are the ones that control whether your town becomes a sanctuary city or not. That doesn't happen at the top. It happens right around, in your state. And so that's why I think it's a real problem. So I encourage the family to disengage with party politics. We all need to be independent.
Yep.
And we need to vote accordingly.
Agreed. So
for me, when we talk about immigration and it being a problem, because we know it's a problem from the 2008 study, the impact of illegal immigration on the wages and employment opportunities of Black workers. So we know that this is an issue. So if we have Donald Trump, which I encourage everybody to go on his website and see that he's actually been putting in a lot of work and resources to handle this illegal immigration problem, that's what we need to be focused on. So I understand people saying, we need a Black agenda, and we do.
Yep.
We do. Don't get me wrong, but we also need to solidify the anti-illegal immigration. We do. So me personally, I'm pro-Trump 2020 because of that.
I hear you.
I need somebody to actively stop that.
Sister, let me ask you a question real quick, if I may, right?
Sure.
You do realize that essentially this argument was made by certain people, right? They stated that there's initiatives, there's referenda, there's issues that you support or that you vote for or vote against and things like that in their, in their analysis, their political analysis, right? The thing is that I want to ask you, is what you're saying right along line with that idea that, hey, I may not agree 100% with the particular party's platform or everything like that, but where I can find common ground or issues that I support and candidates that support those issues, that I'm going to select those candidates. Is that kind of where your thought process is?
I would say no. I really want to have a Black agenda. I won't say that because to me, I know the strategy. I heard the strategy of, you're supposed to vote for and against somebody. That's double talk. It's either or. It's either you're voting for somebody or either you're voting against somebody. You can't have them both. It's one way.
Yeah.
But that's not me. Where I'm at is we're really not as a collective, but there's a larger number of Black people that are being getting, politically engaged for real.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, while we're getting our experience in and we're understanding what we need in the meantime, because it's going to take work.
Yeah.
And to me, since, surviving is a full-time job, I'm not so sure that we're ready at 2020, but I know that we will be. Say 2024, we can iron out our own agenda. We'll know what to do.
Yeah.
But I will say this for the family. Dr. Umar Johnson was on The Breakfast Club. I don't know if y'all saw the interview, but I will say that he sounded like his regular self, like he was before. I think he maybe had a little silent meltdown, honestly. But he said a few things that I want to point out for the family. So they ended up talking about politics. And Dr. Umar Johnson was saying, he doesn't believe in just blindly voting. He says that he doesn't believe in the party politics either. But what we need to be asking, he said they need to deal with 5 major problems that are facing the Black community. He said those 5 things are mass incarceration, miseducation, gentrification, police genocide, and access to wealth. And so, my ears perked up because I'm like, wow, yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. So even as a talking point, if we ask these things, all of this is supposed to be included in our reparations package anyway.
Yep.
So to me, that's generic enough to take it forward to conversations, to keep the conversation going, because yes, we're going to get it. And this whole thing that reparations is a progressive policy,
that's bullshit.
It's kind of bull. It's a debt.
It's bullshit.
At the end of the day. And then when we think about it, Reagan was the one who did the reparations for the Japanese people.
Boom.
In 1988, I do believe. That's a Republican. So let's not act like it's impossible, because it's not. It's been done already.
Yep. Absolutely.
Second, he wrote out the questions on what we should ask them. He said we should be asking them, what plan do you have to deal with miseducation? What plan do you have to deal with mass incarceration? What plan do you have to deal with the ethnic cleansing of Black people out of our own residential neighborhoods? What plan do you have to deal with police assassinations of defenseless, unarmed Black folks? And what plan do you have to help us access the wealth of America's banks? That's everything. That encompassed everything.
I hear you.
And so I just got a hold of that information today. So I just wanted to put that out there if anybody didn't see it yet. But I do believe that the brother is back mentally, like he's there all the way. So I'm excited that he's back. I understand that we go through things. We all need lineage therapy. We all carry the ancestral traumas. And so I'm not gonna, hold him in a hole, like cancel him when he's back. He's healthy. He sounds like the person that I fell in love with anyways, so to speak. So check that out if y'all get a chance. But yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to disengage from party politics. Think about those sanctuary cities. Think about, and for the people who are still Democrats, I don't know that anybody, in our group is, but for the people who are, I would say this, everything is about race. And so the problem with you not voting for Republicans because they're racist, you really should get over that, because, the country is built off of race. We've been here for 400 years. It took them 345 years before they even wanted to touch race. And it's only been 55 years since then. So please do not think that racism has gone anywhere. Like, no, the Democrats, we see the policies that they bring for us. Okay? We think that they're for us. No, they're not. We vote for them only because of programs? No. So we need to talk to Republicans to let them know, like, hey, I know y'all feel like that we're dependent on the system, and to a degree we are, but we need access to capital. We need investment, real investment. And it's about that y'all didn't pay reparations. We've been asking. This is not a new ask.
Fast.
So you don't get to opt out. It's not bankruptcy. You just can't write off reparations.
Yep. You know what I say, Tim? Mitch better have my money. Mitch McConnell better have my money.
Mitch McConnell ain't gonna have. I think somebody's running against him, if I'm not mistaken. And so the fact that people like to bring up Donald Trump saying, reparation isn't gonna happen. What he said was interesting. I don't think it's gonna happen. He did not say no. So I just want people to remember that he did not say no. He did not say no. So we got work to do. We need to engage everybody, because at this point, racism, Brother Neely Fuller says it's an aggressive form of fear. And so if you're racist because you fear the unknown, we need to talk to them. We need to start talking to these people so that we can humanize ourselves, okay? So that they know, because any person that I encounter, if they're pale or whatever ethnicity they might be from, I always change people's minds. And I know I'm not the only one who has that influence. So all we have to do is do our work and, expose them to the new blackface.
That's why it's key.
Not the 60s anymore.
Tim, that's why it's key that we get this pack going more sooner than later, right? Where we can start to control our own narrative, where we can have ad buys in various areas talking about our issues, our interests, right? I think that's going to be a game changer. So, sister, I'm glad you got a chance to contribute tonight. I wasn't going to let it go without you getting a chance to talk to the fam. And I appreciate and I love you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Fam, I'm going to be wrapping it up here shortly, right? But what I want to say is this. There are people who believe that Trump and Alia is actively oppressing us, and that's fine, right? I think that the government is still actively oppressing us, right? Our oppression is not partisan, it's bipartisan, right? The things that keep you and I at the bottom tier of citizenship it's a bipartisan project, right? On one side, you have the alleged hard racists, and on the other side, you have the soft racists, right? It's like Tolstoy said, I ride on a man's back, lamenting at his plight and assuring him that I will do anything to ease his plight except to get off his back. It's a bipartisan project, fam. We don't get the luxury of sitting here pretending that it's just the Republicans, that it's just, the Republicans doing this and the Republicans doing that. We know the Republicans could do dirt to us. The Republicans could do dirt to the entire nation. But to pretend that the Democrats haven't written us off when it's clear that they have, we don't get to do that either, fam. In this situation that we exist in now, deviant groups, and I don't mean deviant in the sense that they should be shamed or looked down on, just simply meaning outside the norm, people who are not the normative, right? Deviant groups have more of a say, more access to rights, resources, and so on and so forth than you. Illegal aliens who have no investment in our country have more say, more rights, and soon will have every aspect of citizenship that you have plus. That's a problem. And if you see that as a problem, like I see it as a problem, then you got work to do. We have work to do. Not for them. Not for them. For us. It is okay for us to be exclusive. It is okay for us to demand specific redress of our grievances, our issues, our needs. It is okay for us to demand tangibles from both D and R, or Green, or a socialist, or whoever the hell else you voting for or not voting for. Matter of fact, it's okay if you refrain from engaging in the political apparatus until such time as they come to you. But the status quo can no longer obtain. The center does not hold. So, fam, with that having been said, I want to thank you all for a wonderful broadcast. Hopefully, I brought you some information today that you can use, that you that helps benefit your thought process, put some fat on your head, and so on and so forth. If I did, and you feel like it's worthy, please consider becoming a patron of mine. I'm asking you to put 5 on it, right? But I'll need you to understand that it is time for us to make the moves we need to make. You're not beholden to anyone. You're not answerable to anyone except your fellow tribes people, right? I'm accountable to you. I don't owe anybody else a damn thing. You feel me? So with that having been said, fam, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But as always, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.